Welcome back. All right, how about a second news of the day video for your Friday, October the 3rd, as I filled up another board and we have some stuff to discuss. But I want to start with something that's being discussed around hockey. And I don't think it's that big a deal, really, but I've seen a lot of discussion about it, so I figured I'd weigh in. Ben McDonald, an announcer for Major League Baseball and ESPN. They're talking about the triple header on ESPN to start the NHL season, which I'm not overly excited about. I have to be honest, that first night of hockey when there's 3 games and it's like, 8 hours to watch 3, I don't think it's a fantastic way to start the season. I'm not a big fan of triple headers in general, especially when there's no other hockey that's going on. And early in the season, they're not all going to be great. I guarantee one of the 3 games we're probably going to say what a good game that was, but probably the other 2, it's early in the season, right? We know that the hockey gets better as the season rolls along. So when Ben McDonald is having this discussed at him, he's not really participating because, as he has said in an interview since then, he didn't know that the ESPN hockey agreement was there, that the NHL was on ESPN. And this is something we've talked about. We have talked about ESPN and how they don't really put their faith in the hockey, right? And the NHL schedule has to schedule around college baseball. It has to college basketball, I should say, as well as baseball. It schedules around the NBA, the NFL. The NHL is always scheduling around all the other sports in the United States. Doesn't have to do that in Canada, of course, because it's the number 1 sport in Canada. But it is interesting how the NHL is always secondary behind every other major sport, including college football and whatnot. So for Ben McDonald, who is not somebody who has to watch hockey, to say he's not going to be watching the triple header on the 7th, I don't think is a big deal. Now, the fact that he's on ESPN saying that is a big part of the reason why this is out there. But I don't think that for somebody to say, I'm not going to be watching hockey, I don't think it's a huge deal. Not everybody likes hockey. It's a thing. And it's not a huge deal. I've definitely talked to people who are not fans of hockey, and I've been fortunate enough to find another sport we can talk about, because there's other sports. Sometimes people are really into the NFL, sometimes they're really into baseball. And when I was making small talk at my old job, there were times where there were people, even guys, who didn't watch hockey, didn't care about hockey. So for Ben McDonald to say this during an ESPN broadcast, I don't think he needs to apologize to anything. I don't think he needs to explain himself because he's on ESPN, so how dare he? I don't think it's... I think with hockey, it's a niche sport in the United States. Yes, it's growing. Yes, there are a lot of locations where hockey could work, but it's not currently located from a National Hockey League perspective. But it's okay for it to be a niche sport. It's okay for it to be where it is in terms of its overall importance in sports in North America. I don't think it's a big deal. But let me know your thoughts. I just thought it was nice to hear somebody just being honest with, I'm not going to be watching. I don't. And he's clarified, if I have a choice between playoff baseball or the opening night of the NHL, I'm going to watch playoff baseball. I guarantee you there are people who are subscribers to this channel who really like hockey who are going to be watching other games on Tuesday because they're interested in what's going on with the baseball playoffs. That's normal. That's absolutely a normal reaction to have. So, at any rate, I do think it's, I don't want to say overblown, but it does feel like a little bit that it would be this discussion point. But I wanted to talk about it just because I don't think it's a big deal, even if it's an ESPN announcer to say, I'm not a big hockey fan. I don't think it's that big a deal. I think it's frustrating to me when they're doing the ad reads and all this, and they're trying to sound all hyped up, and I'm thinking, you're not hyped up. You're not actually watching that. You don't care. When they're pumping up, this new show is going to debut after the game tonight. You're not watching that show, dude. It's not happening. So, at any rate, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think he did anything wrong here. And I think, honestly, if he just said, I'm not a big hockey fan. If you like it, you do you. It's fine. It's whatever. We don't all have to watch the same things. But there you go. All right, so getting into some news of the day from around the National Hockey League. With that set aside, Givani Smith, he has turned his PTO into a contract. This is what the guys on tryouts want. He gets a 2-way contract with the Carolina Hurricanes. It will pay him league minimum at the NHL level of $775,000. He has also been placed on waivers today, so he is clear to be sent down. And of course, I did get an email asking me about how waivers work and everything. I'm pretty sure I've done videos on that on the channel. But that just means that any team has a right to make a claim, and then the claim is decided by an inverse of the standings. So if San Jose puts in a claim, they're going to get it because nobody finished below San Jose, that kind of thing. On to other news. Janmark and Jones are both expected to be out for about a week for the Edmonton Oilers, so that would put them past the season opener, but not by very much. JT Miller at practice for the Rangers in a non-contact jersey. The key thing, of course, is make sure he's ready to go for the start of the regular season. So I don't see any reason why JT Miller would necessarily miss the opening night, but we'll see what happens there. Speaking of non-contact jerseys, Logan Cooley, no longer in a non-contact jersey, spotted in a regular jersey at practice today, so he should be in the lineup for Utah's next game. Utah's also waived Matt Villalta, a depth goaltender. Shouldn't have a problem with him clearing waivers. That being said, there were 3 waiver claims today. Yep, 3. The first one, I have to admit I chuckled. Damon Hunt, early on in the summer, I want to, maybe midsummer. I know it was before my vacation that didn't happen. But Damon Hunt, I reported on him, and I had I talked about Minnesota. I think I had the logo right on the board, but I talked about Damon Hunt of the Wild, and I was corrected. No, he's in Columbus. Well, Minnesota, maybe they watched that video and went, oh, right, yeah, we let him go, didn't we? They've claimed Damon Hunt on waivers from Columbus. So now he's back in the Wild organization. Thanks for bailing me out, Minnesota. Schwint was claimed on waivers from Vegas by the Florida Panthers. And Solovyov claimed on waivers from Calgary by the Colorado Avalanche. So be interesting to see how these 3 players factor in for opening night. How quickly they end up back on waivers at some point. But those are 3 waiver claims. Other waivers for today to discuss. Boston placing a bunch of players. Brown, Callahan, Merkulov, Soderstrom, and Tufte all on waivers. Soderstrom, of course, that's Victor Soderstrom coming back over after playing in Europe. He's getting a chance to play, I guess, in Providence and earn his way back up onto the Boston roster. But he is on waivers today from the Boston Bruins. The Tampa Bay Lightning waiving goaltender Halverson, getting waived. He's getting sent down. Toronto raising a few eyebrows by waiving David Kampf. Villeneuve gets waived as well. Kampf is one I look at and I think he could get claimed. There could be a team in the NHL that decides that for their 4th line, Kampf could work. So we'll see if he ends up clearing or not. The Vancouver Canucks waiving Amon. Not a huge surprise there. I would expect him to be down here in Abbotsford when the regular season gets rolling. I'm looking forward to October 24th in Abbotsford and a banner raising as well, which I do plan to go to. The Washington Capitals waiving Rempel. Rempel, who played in Abbotsford previously. Sheldon Rempel, a good depth forward and veteran who can chip in at the AHL level. One question that I've started to see a lot of now with some of these contracts being signed is Lane Hutson. What is Montreal's cap hit going to look like for Lane Hutson? Spoiler alert, it's going to be really high. And the longer they wait, the longer that this takes before they actually get an extension done with him, I think the pricier it's going to get. Guaranteed that when they saw what Lacombe got from Anaheim yesterday, they probably did a bit of a double take. But I did learn from discussing Lacombe getting that extension. There are a lot of people who don't know what Lacombe was able to do for Anaheim this past season, or that he was the number 1 defenseman, and he looked really good. So the fact that Lane Hutson is obviously better than Lacombe means I would think, what's the starting price for Hutson? $12 million a year? Something ridiculous? It is going to be a lot of money, and I think this is going to make for some interesting times in the National Hockey League as players finally start getting paid the kind of money that we do see in other sports. So it is a sign of a healthy league. It is a sign of why we didn't see a labor stoppage. We just saw an extension of the CBA, and I think as long as the salary cap's still doing that, everybody's making more money. Shouldn't have to worry about a lockout for quite some time. But there you go. All done for now, I do believe. But if I need to do another news video before the day is done, so be it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. And just briefly going back to this, I've discovered on my second channel, the tribalism around wrestling is weird that way too. So if I discuss one company and I don't necessarily like what the other one's doing, there's a lot of negativity that starts getting thrown at me there, which I do find really weird. Because 6 years ago, I was talking a lot about how exciting AEW was. I really enjoyed AEW, and that has changed. But it doesn't mean that I dislike one for any particular reason, or that I'm not willing to watch one, because I do watch wrestling here and there for both companies, but I do prefer the WWE product at this point. But man, I tell you, so I do understand what a broadcaster might go through for saying, I don't really like hockey, but it's fine. And there are definitely sports I don't watch, sports I don't like. So, at any rate, let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. That being said, I'm done for now. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.